Hello, my name is Jordan Musser and I'm a senior here at Frisco High School. This is my first year in ISM and I'm studying speech-language pathology, specifically in hearing loss. So thought I would start out telling you guys a little bit about my quote. My quote is, "One day our patients will be able to tell their own stories and will no longer have to convince naysayers that deaf children can listen and speak." I chose this quote because it really incorporates everything any SLP wants for their student. They want them to grow and prosper and be amazing and just learn to live in a normal society. So that's why I chose this quote. So I thought I would tell a little bit about me. As I said, I'm a senior here at Frisco High School. I've been involved in the cross-country team, the soccer team here since my freshman year. I was named the JV captain this year, which was really exciting. And I am also the varsity manager this year. I chose not to play soccer, but my team and my coaches were not having me leaving, so I became the manager. And then you can see, I have a picture of me and my two brothers. I'm very close with my family. We are a big scouting family. We all do sports. I don't know what I'm going to do without my family when I leave for college this upcoming summer. So this is a picture of my two brothers. So as I said, we're a really big scouting family. This is a picture of my Girl Scout Gold project that's in the Pro Museum in Dallas. It's in the lobby. I'm almost done with it. I just turned in paperwork, so I'm almost getting my gold, so that's exciting. As you can see, hold on, this is cool. So over here I have a video display. It's about 6 minutes talking about, I interviewed 3 different professionals that are really big in the Dallas area. Then in the middle, yes, I have 2 display boards. This is telling what everything is and how it works, and then this is my story. And then we have some older equipment. Equipment back in about 10 years ago was about this big. It was on a backpack you would have to wear, and now it's really little and you can just put it right behind your ears. And this is for adults and kids that are profoundly deaf. It just brings hearing back to them, and it's really amazing. Oh, I also volunteered 40 hours. That's the picture on this side. 40 hours of my 80 hours over the summer every weekend. It was a lot of fun. I met a lot of really great people. It was just the coolest thing ever. I also did the Callier Center. I was able to work at this camp over the summer. It was amazing. I met so many wonderful people. I got to work alongside with grad students, and I really am so excited. I just got invited back. I found out a few days ago that I was invited back to come work at this camp, so I cannot wait till July when I can work. So my inspiration of why I wanted to do this, why I'm even interested in anything with hearing loss, is my little brother. He's actually deaf and he wears bilateral cochlear implants, so that's really cool. He lost his hearing to meningitis at 13 months and he's had cochlear implants ever since. He really would not be the confident kid he is today without years of speech therapy. He is completely mainstreamed back into middle schools. He's at Pioneer. He plays sports. He takes leadership positions in scouting. It's really incredible. If he has a hat on, you really can't even tell that he's deaf, so it's amazing. So why I wanted to be in the Independent Study Mentorship Program, my friend Gracie really inspired me. She always talked about how much fun she had and that she got to do something that she loved and she could learn about nursing, and I was just really touched. I was like, wow, this is a class where I can really do something and I can gain real world experience and step out of my comfort zone. I would definitely never be the first one to ever give a speech, and the fact that I'm up here being the first one in our class to give a speech really kind of shows the progress I've made this year so far. So, as you know, I have a lot of background of what I wanted to do, so I did some earlier research assessments just to see what I can lead into. So I learned about the early hearing detection and intervention testing. So that's just in the hospitals, by law, you have to have a hearing test for your baby before they can leave, and that's really brought a need and an awareness of hearing loss and cochlear implants, and there's just a need for SLPs now, so that's really cool. And then, as you guys know, the cochlear implant versus deaf community, that was a really interesting topic. I did a research assessment on. I respect their decisions and their choices and their ideas. I definitely have my own, but I thought that was a really interesting thing to talk about. And then my next one was just places to work. I was not very interested in the clinic and private practice, or not clinic, the hospitals and private practice, because that just didn't appeal to me. I was very interested in working one-on-one with the families and one-on-one with the students, and that's why I went into further research about clinics and clinics and schools. So I did a lot of clinic research. I learned a lot. There's difference I did all my interviews at UTD Collier Center, which is a university base, so they have different rules than most clinics. I did most of this research assessment on the clinics that aren't based, so you have to find all your own patients and you have to do all the insurance by yourself. But at UTD, you don't have to find all your own patients and you have the help with insurance and paperwork, so that's really nice. And I also learned a lot about auditory verbal therapy. That is a 3 to 5 year process that you have to go through if you want to be a clinician. And it's very time consuming. It's worth it. It's just going to take a lot of time. So I met some people. I had 4 interviews at UTD Collier Center. The first one I met was Melissa Sweeney. I know her very personally because she worked with my brother and helped me with my Girl Scout project, as you can see in the picture. But she is the head of the cochlear implant program at UTD Collier Center. She's amazing. She does wonderful things. She's very well known throughout the whole country. She also teaches graduate students and during their practicums, and she teaches the summer class that leads into the camp that I worked at. So I know her very well. She's amazing. She's one of the world's newest up and coming SLPs teaching wise. My next interview was with Amber Steltlick. She works at UTD Collier Center. She graduated from SFA, which is one of the schools that I'm looking at, so I thought that was really cool. She works with the kids 3 to 10. She's also currently working on her ABT. She's about 2 years in, so that's pretty awesome. And she also wants to be a bilingual speech pathologist. There's such a need for speech pathologists that know different languages, especially in the Texas area, because there's so many different languages in our area. We are known as the melting pot area, so she wants to help as many kids as she can. And so knowing another language would really open up doors for her. My next interview was with Erica Brown. She also works at UTD Collier. She works from ages 3 to 10. She also works with adults, which she's the only SLP that I interviewed that works with adults. Working with adults is really challenging because you don't see as much progress, and because most adults, when they get their cochlear implants, they've been deaf all the way through their lives, and they miss that window of opportunity from the ages 3 to 5. They miss that opportunity for brain development to learn the language, so it's really hard. But she also worked in a school district environment, and she said she loved it, but the clinic was just for her, and I just thought that was really interesting. My next interview was with Hannah Prochet. She also works at UTD Collier. She's currently working on her PhD in hearing sciences. She's the only SLP in all of UTD's center that is actually working on her PhD, so I thought that was really awesome. She wants to combine audiology and speech pathology, so if you have an emergency when you are in a speech class and equipment just malfunctions and you don't know what to do, then you can just know how to fix it right on the spot. And then she also works with ages 5 to 10, so she's a little bit older, but she doesn't see as much because she is working on her PhD currently. So next I did some research at schools. I decided to do most of my interviews at Davis Elementary School because that's where my brother goes, or used to go. He went there for 3 years, and he always said it was amazing, and they have one of the best programs in the Dallas area that has a hearing and deaf education program embedded into the normal school. So I thought that was really cool. So some of the things that I learned by just doing a simple research assessment was you get really connected to your kids, and you also see 30 to 45 kids a whole year, and that seems like a lot, but it really isn't when you get into planning. And there's also a huge family sense. You're all there together, and you're all there to help each other. All the administrators and teachers, they're all very supportive. And you also have to work with the art and special education, but I will get into that when I get to my original work. So my 5th interview was with Amanda England. She's actually my mentor, but you will see the next slide. She is a deaf education speech pathologist. She works from kindergarten to 5th grade, and she also sees about 45 kids a week. That seems like a lot, I know, but it isn't too bad. And then my next interview was with Casey Murray. She is a special education and deaf education speech therapist. She's really awesome. She has a deaf brother just like me, and I just thought that was so cool. We had such a connection. We were like, oh yeah, our deaf brothers, these were the struggles they had when they grew up, and I just thought it was amazing. And she also wants to be an administrator, which I thought was really cool because she wants to do so much more for these kids than just teach them how to talk and help them develop the language. All she wants is to give these kids every opportunity that she can, so I thought that was so awesome. So this is my mentor, Miss Amanda England. She's amazing. I love her. She's so passionate about what she does, and she wants to help as many people as she can. I thought it was really cool. One thing that I definitely learned from her is that you always need to have backup plans and be very flexible because you never know how your student's going to be that day. I was sitting in on a mentor visit, and a little boy freaked out because we were doing an activity about that involved flowers, and he was like, I'm a boy, I do not deal with flowers. And just like that, she could just change the whole thing around, and he was fine, and it was a more general, it wasn't more girly, more boyish, it was just perfect, and everything went well. And I just thought that was really cool that she can just like that, can just change something, and it just goes back to being smooth. So she's really amazing. I'm so excited that I get to work with her this year, and I'm just so thankful that she decided to be my mentor. All right, so I'm going to go into a little bit about my original work. My original work was very time consuming. I decided to make an ARD, or the Admission Review and Dismissal Program. That's what it's called. It's a special education program in school districts. And for my original work, I was going to make an IEP, or the Individual Education Plan. That way you have like an area, or you develop a plan for your student to help them if they need help. When you're in this type of program, you can be dyslexic, you can have hearing impairments, you can have Down syndrome, it's everything. It's very broad, but the IEP really makes it very specific on what you do and the goals that you're going to make. So next, I did some research on how to reach each goal. So that's basically just making the times and talking about things you can do to get everything. And then my lesson plan you'll see in a minute. So this is a quick, oh, hold on. I'm going to send this around. This is my whole original work. I thought I would show you guys. It's very thick, but I did 8 45-minute sessions with 2 students. So I'm just going to send this around. If you guys want to look at it, there's a lot of stuff in there. But this is my basic ARD. It's just the general information. So at the top you can see, wait, I have a laser pointer. Okay, at the top, this whole area, you can see that's just a basic information like grade, age, why they're in the program, their disability, stuff like that. And then this whole paragraph is here to tell about their strengths and what they've done and what their teachers think of them. So if any random person was to read this, they would kind of get to know the student before they decide, oh, they need this, this, and this. So this is a way so you can really get to know your student. And then, oh my gosh, and this box, so you have your areas of strength and your areas of weakness, or areas of need. So for every strength, you're supposed to have an area of need. So the 4, I chose to have 4 just because it was an easier number. You can see that they have all their areas of need, so that's things that they need to work on. For example, following directions, using self-advocacy skills, and answering the where question. That's pretty common things that these kids need to work on. And then at the bottom, you can see I actually have their goals. One of my goals was, by the end of the 36 instructional weeks, Flynn will be able to pronounce the K, G, and G ending sounds 7 out of 10 tries in 5 therapy sessions. You want to have 7 out of 10. That's a number of attempts they can have, because you can't be perfect every single time. So that's around a good number. Usually you want to do 6 to 8 tries, or amounts or times you can do it, just because they can't be perfect every time, and that's a really good sign. If they can get that far, then they will get better. So that means that you mastered it. So you want to have a time session too, just so you are able to measure and see what they do. One thing I loved about my project is one of my students is Flynn Rider, my other one is Charlotte Frog, after Disney characters. I'm kind of 5 years old, and I just thought that would be really fun. So there we go. And then this is an example of one of my lesson plans. I pretty much designed all these lesson plans by myself. I did find some off like websites that I just thought were really cool, but this is one of the ones that I did by myself. So at the top, you always give the goals that you're going to work on for the days. So you have your 2 goals, and then you have, when you walk in, your student is you're going to have to check equipment. It's very important that you make sure all your equipment is working. So usually, if I was an SLP, I would have an FM program around my neck and on my ears, so my voice will go straight to their equipment, and they won't hear as much background noise, so they can really focus. And then you always want to check the ling sounds. The ling sounds check all the frequencies of the equipment. So there's ah, e, I, sh, s, that's all of them. And you want to make sure that you can really just make sure they're working right before any lesson plan. All right, and then you have bingo. This was my choice. When you see the binder, you'll see that I have little like animal cards or things with all the different things with the ending sounds. So like for G, it would be like dog. No, maybe, I don't know. And so we're going to play bingo, and I would say something to them, and then they could put their spot in, and when they make a line, they have to repeat the word back. So they're learning about the ending sounds. And then my other activity, we're working on the learning target of answering the where question. So we're going to read, oh, the places we'll go. And we're going to talk about places you want to go, and maybe you want to go to grandma's house, and then you have to describe them. And we're really working on the describing parts of it. And then an extra, sometimes you run out of time, you'll be following direction bears. It's just a coloring sheet that I found, which was really cool. Following directions is always hard for any kid, so that's just a very general thing. But as you can see, everything's blocked up into time. You want to try to make the most out of the time you have, because you do only have about 30 to 45 minutes with your students a day, or every other day. All right, so my plans for the future. I'm currently undecided. I'm deciding between SFA and OSU. I recently went to SFA and really fell in love with the program, and so I will see what happens. You guys will find out in my next speech. And I also want to eventually get my master's in speech pathology. To work in a clinic, it is required to get your master's, but to work in a school district, you don't have to start your job with a master's. You can get it later. And I would want to work in school districts. I figured that out through ISM, that a school district is really for me. I thought I just wanted to do clinics and just work at like places like UTD or work in universities, but I actually figured out that I really enjoy the school district environment, and it's just a lot of fun. All right. And then my goals for the very far future, I love traveling. I want to go see the world eventually. And why not see the world when I can help do something I'm very passionate about, do something I love? So I eventually would love to go work in other countries. There's this really great organization that just started. It's called Hear Us in Cape Town. And they are currently training SLPs and getting equipment to these kids. And I just think it's amazing. So I would love to eventually work there. And in the very far future, I want to teach SLPs eventually and help them learn what it is and why I'm so passionate, hopefully share what I know to them. So thank you so much for listening to my speech, and I hope y'all have a great day.